Don't give Olivia any lawyers or papers, please. Marcus told his young girlfriend Hannah as he watched me pack downstairs. She laughed as she moved our furniture around. As I folded my clothes, I kept my cool. Are you sure there isn't an official separation or divorce? Marcus leaned against the door with his arms crossed. What's the point? You have your job, I have mine, he asked Hannah. I want a fresh start. Lawyers will only make things worse. Call me Olivia Parker 42. I thought my marriage was fine, 15 years, a nice house, and a stable life, but life can be cruel, and Marcus looked at the expensive watch I had given him for our 10th wedding anniversary. You can't ask for anything. The house and cars are in my name, and your government job pays enough. You'll be fine, he said. If only he knew. I closed my suitcase and took one last look around the room. Hannah's scent filled the space, and her bag was lying on my side of the bed. Marcus expected me to cry or beg, but I smiled as I thought about how I found out about his affair, not through texts or lipstick stains, but in a much more interesting way. I've learned to pick my fights. Matthew, I asked him why he didn't want formal proof that we were no longer together, and he shrugged and said, "Why bother? You move out, Hannah moves in, and life goes on without a paper trail." That made me laugh downstairs. Hannah was already putting my things back where they belonged. She barely looked up as I walked by. Whatever, just text first, I said, leaving some things in the study. I'll be back tomorrow. Marcus answered, his attention already on Hannah. As I put my bag in my car, I looked back out the window. Marcus and Hannah were laughing and enjoying their new life. I took out my phone and sent a text message. Everything is ready for tomorrow. Target has confirmed that there is no legal documentation. Everything is going as planned. The response was instant. Team briefed 9 and sharp. I took one last look at the house. Marcus thought was his, but he had no idea what was coming. He never questioned my job or asked why I was in charge of all of our finances. He also never noticed that his investment portfolio always did better than others. As I drove, my phone rang again. More proof was gathered. The operation will be confirmed tomorrow. At exactly 9 a.m., Marcus would finally understand what my job was all about. He would learn that his wife, the woman he betrayed, had been defending him the whole time. Justice would show up at his door with a federal warrant and a protection vest. In the FBI monitoring van the next morning, I sipped coffee and watched live camera feeds of my old house. Marcus always did the same things. 7:45 a.m. Hannah is in the kitchen making his favorite breakfast. 8:15 a.m. Marcus took a shower and fixed his hair. At 8:45 a.m., he adjusted his tie in the hallway mirror. Agent Target is about to leave. Tez said that all teams were in place. A group of voices told you it was okay. Porries asked if she knew this was upsetting me on a personal level. I told her that it was strange to see Marcus kiss Hannah goodbye because I had been working on the other side of the operation for 3 years, gathering evidence against Marcus's investment firm. What began as a simple investigation turned out to be fraud, money laundering, and serious financial crimes. I could see why Marcus didn't want legal papers between us. He was hiding more than just an affair at 8:55 a.m. Marcus walked outside with his suitcase still in his hand, still feeling good about himself and thinking he couldn't be hurt. He looked at himself in the rearview mirror of his car and straightened a soap tie that he had bought with dirty money. All teams were ready. Torres told them to remember that he isn't violent, but might try to destroy proof. Marcus got into his Mercedes, which he bought in his own name for tax reasons. A long time ago, he told me the truth. It was harder to seize things that were only his. Team 1 was told to go to the house, and Team 2 was told to get ready to intercept at his office. I looked at Hannah, who was still in her room making breakfast. She had no idea that her dream life was about to fall apart. At exactly 9 a.m., FBI agents surrounded the house. When the doorbell rang, Hannah, who was wearing my old robe, opened it. She was confused. "FBI, we have a search warrant," she said. On another screen, Marcus was on his way to work when flashing police lights appeared behind him. His car slowed down and stopped at the target, and an agent confirmed that they were moving in. My phone rang with a text message from Marcus asking what she did, but I didn't answer. Instead, I watched as agents walked up to him with guns drawn, ready in case he stepped out. Back at the house, Marcus's expensive suit didn't seem so powerful anymore. Hannah was crying on the couch while agents searched every room. They knew exactly where to look because I had told them everything. We found the first stash, which was a hidden safe in the study, just like Agent Parker said. I smiled because Marcus had always praised my organizational skills. He had no idea I was using them against him. Torres asked me if I knew about his crimes the whole time, and I said yes. I found out about them 3 years ago and started gathering evidence right away. He didn't think I was smart enough to understand his work, so he didn't bother hiding it. Also, Hannah's mistress found out about him 3 months ago. She wasn't the first person to find out, but she was the last straw. My phone rang again. Marcus's lawyer said, "This time we need to talk." Of course they did want to talk. They were just understanding the truth. I don't have any joint accounts, assets, or divorce papers. That wasn't to keep Marcus safe. It was to help the FBI see everything on the screen. Hannah was crying as she was led out of the house. She thought she was getting a better life, but she was about to be questioned as a witness in a federal case. Moving on to Phase 2, an agent said that Marcus's office would be raided, and his coworkers would soon find out that their star investment banker was actually a con artist. His customers would also find out that their high returns were all lies. Marcus was about to find out that his wife, whom he had underestimated, had been watching and planning for this moment the whole time. One more text message came in, this time from Hannah. "Did you know about this?" she asked. "Yes," I answered. "Now you understand why Marcus didn't want a paper trail between us." Torres tapped me on the shoulder as I got ready to leave for the office. "They need you for the evidence analysis." I stood there with my FBI jacket in place. It was time to show them what a real government job is like. After 6 months, I was in the federal courts and saw Marcus walk in wearing an orange jumpsuit. The expensive suit was gone. The sure of himself strut and smug smile. The proof I gathered over 3 years was terrible for not only him, but also the whole company. Hannah became a state's witness almost right away because she didn't want to be charged herself. She gave more details about conversations she'd overheard and meetings she'd seen, which surprised everyone by being surprisingly helpful to the prosecution. I'll rise as the judge entered. I caught Marcus's eye for the first time since he was arrested. He looked directly at me, and I saw the questions, the confusion, and the slow realization of how much he'd underestimated me. The sentence was short but powerful. 15 years. 1 for each year of our marriage. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The judge was especially stern, pointing out Marcus's clear lack of concern for his client's financial security and his repeated pattern of lying. After the hearing, I walked into the courthouse hallway where Agent Torres had been waiting for 15 years. She gave me a coffee and told me that the compensation team had already started giving money back to people who had been scammed. I nodded as I thought about the house our house now sees and the sale that's coming up. Hannah moved back in with her parents. Along with her image agent, her dreams of being married to a rich man were crushed. Markham, I turned around to see Marcus's lawyer approaching me. "Your ex-husband would like to talk with you if you're willing," he said. A few minutes later, I sat across from Marcus in a small conference room. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked. "All those years you knew what I was doing. You could have warned me." I laughed softly and told him I had warned him. Remember all those times I questioned your investment strategies and suggested more transparent reporting? You always snubbed me because I couldn't understand the complexity of your work, he winced. I never thought about your government job. You never did think about my job, I replied. You just assumed I was some minor bureaucrat pushing papers. When did you know about everything? 3 years ago, when you hailed your big client win and the offshore accounts, I began to build my case. I could have arrested you at that time, but I wanted to know the full extent of the operation. Dawning and Hannah, she helped me make up my mind. She showed me it was time to stop protecting you. As I got ready to leave, a guard told me our time together was over. Marcus spoke again, but this time his voice was softer than I had ever heard it. I'm sorry, Olivia. Not just for Hannah, for everything. I paused at the door. I know, but sometimes sorry isn't enough. Outside, spring was coming to the city, and Tez and I walked to our office, where a new case was waiting. Life was different now, but better. I wasn't hiding, pretending, or protecting someone who didn't value me. As we got to our building to enjoy the conviction, Tess told me, the team is taking me out tonight. You should come. I smiled and looked at my phone. A text message from my sister about next week's dinner plans and another from a friend at a weekend climbing trip. Since Marcus's arrest, my life has grown to include people and opportunities one had forgotten existed. Count me in, I answered later that night as I raised a glass to new beginnings with coworkers who had become friends. Someone asked if I felt bad about not turning Marcus in sooner, but I told them that everything had happened exactly when it needed to and had. Marcus's arrest revealed not only his crimes, but also a larger scheme of financial fraud. The case earned me a promotion, respect from coworkers who had worked on the investigation with me without knowing my personal connection, and most importantly, my freedom. The house would be sold, the assets would be given to victims, and Marcus would have a lot of time to think about what he wanted to do. Hannah had learned a hard lesson about trust and ambition, but I heard she had started at community college. Maybe something good would come of it all. As for me, I was exactly where I needed to be. My government job had become a source of pride, my coworkers a source of strength, and my future looked brighter than ever. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. Sometimes it's standing back and letting justice happen. And sometimes it's showing everyone, including yourself, who you've been the whole time. When I walked into my office the next morning, I had a new case.